Action. Welcome to the podcast where a guy that watches movies discusses movies with a guy that doesn't even watch a movie.
And today we're discussing
We're disgusting today.
Shang CHI and
Shang-Chi.
the Legend of the 10 Rings.
The 10 rings. All 10 of them?
Yeah, all 10.
Does he get them?
Yeah.
We go right off the bat on a spoiler.
Yeah.
Just coming in clutch.
He does acquire the rings.
Right.
So, where do you really want to start with this one?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think. I haven't seen this movie in a while.
Oh, well, I believe that, like, if you want to just, like, go right into a play-by-play of it, I believe the first scene we see is, his name is Sean, right? And what is the girl's name? His friend.
I don't remember.
Who's the actress that plays her?
Her name's Aquafina.
Aquafina?
Yeah, she's like a comedy rapper.
Ah, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that she did
it's
other
spelled
stuff.
different too. It's spelled like queef, Aquafina, I think.
That's pretty sus. But I think their characters, it starts off with them, it shows their occupation, that they're valet drivers.
What is their name and occupation?
Yeah.
That's where we're starting.
Named Sean. Yeah, I don't know the name, though, of her.
Oh, yeah, they're valet drivers in, what city is it?
I don't remember
L.A.?
that.
It's L.A.
Maybe,
it's L.A.
yeah.
It's L.A. And they love their life. They love their job. They don't care that they're not amounting to their full potential.
I think the opening scene was actually pretty important. Not important, seemingly, but then it was later on where she wanted to drive the car that the dude brought
Beamer.
in for the valet.
That shit was dope.
And Sean's like, no, and didn't trust her to drive, but then
Yeah.
she, like, convinced him to let her.
She said she
And
was
then-
the Asian Jeff Gordon.
Yeah. And then as the film progressed, I feel like that was actually a pretty important scene to be the first scene because she kind of became the driver for the crew.
She did.
She drove during the bus
She
scene.
did well.
She drove
she's a good
the,
driver. She is. I don't know if she's the Asian Jeff Gordon, but she's pretty fucking good.
I don't know if Jeff Gordon would have survived in that forest.
True, probably not. He only just takes right turns, right?
So maybe she's the true one and Jeff Gordon wishes he was her.
Yeah, he's the white Aquafina.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically goes to that, and then randomly they're taking a bus to work.
Yeah, they like partied last night and then they wake up and they're going to work.
The
taking a bus to
karaoke,
get
that
there.
shit was cool. They were like, we should be responsible and go to bed, or
Yeah, then they just start singing together.
yeah, that shit was cool. And then they wake up all sluggish, and then they go to work. They take the bus, and what happens on the bus?
They get attacked by like 6 goons.
Like fucking martial arts dudes, and like I'm just gonna call her Aquafina. I don't know her actual name.
Yeah, I don't know her name in
movie,
the film either.
but she thinks he's just some normal dude that she knows named Sean.
yeah,
like,
she's known him for half
She even
of
said
his
that he
life.
can't fight.
I believe she's known him for like 10 years and he's probably like
Damn,
25.
was it that long?
Yeah, he's...
Oh yeah, he left when he was 15.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't. They say that. I remember them saying that, but that kind of shit sometimes doesn't register in my head because you see it right away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize like 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Because you just see it right away.
And then, so we're on that bus scene and
Well-
well,
I said, well, you didn't know it was 10 years at the time that they've known each other that long. You don't find that out till later because
I feel like there's maybe right after
you
the
just know
fight
they're
scene.
close.
Right after the
Yeah.
fight scene, it's brought up. Also, we know that they've known each other for a long time.
they kind of have
because,
chemistry.
Well, I think they say it at some point.
Okay,
I'm sure,
okay.
like, I think one of the parents might.
Oh
have
yeah,
brought it
because
up or
like
something.
her mom or grandmother says, "When are you guys gonna get married?"
Yeah.
It's like we're just friends, and that's how it starts.
But then on the epic bus scene
That was epic.
is when she finds out that he's not exactly who he said he was
That is
because
fucking Super Sean.
he gets attacked and the goons are after this like pendant that he's wearing, just like a green stone
It was
that
like
we later learn was given to him by his mom.
Yeah, it was like a marble or a stone or like
Yeah.
granite or some shit.
And they're after that, and these goons attack him, and he starts fucking karate kidding their ass.
Dude, he kicks their fucking ass, man.
It was a cool fight scene.
It was
too. I
a
enjoyed
great
it.
scene. It was honestly, when that scene happened, I was like, okay, this shit's fucking crazy.
There were a lot of like small things I really liked about it outside of the combat. Like the combat itself was really cool,
It was
but
so good.
I liked the modern take on how there was a guy there that started streaming it.
Oh yeah, that guy was funny. He
that
was like,
seems like
I used to take some karate as a kid, so I'm gonna try to rank this fight for you guys.
I'm gonna break it down. That's like
that dude was awesome.
That's us right now.
That's
We're like,
us
we've seen
with
a
the
few
movies.
movies.
We're
just break
breaking
them
down a guy that broke it down.
Yeah, but I thought that was a cool like detail because it was funny. It made you laugh a little bit.
But that's kind of the internet, right?
Yeah, that's
now,
how.
you know?
If I saw a crazy epic fight scene going down, I might want to record it too.
Yeah, that
And
would be crazy.
It's also kind of crazy to think how like
a world that was like a World Star Review type thing.
yeah,
it was
and
fun.
it's weird that we live in a world nowadays where like no one jumped in and tried to help him, but there were people recording.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Kind of symbolic of the
well,
world
back
we live
in the day,
in.
I don't think people would still step in because people try to like tend to themselves and they don't want to get hit and harm themselves. But at the same time, they didn't have phones back in the day, so I think they would just like pretend they were doing something else, like newspaper or something like.
But now we're like, yo,
Yeah,
check this out! I'm showing my fucking family.
Like everyone has a camera in their pocket, so there's like no privacy at this point.
It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of wild. Like what do you think happened back in the day? Like crazy shit happened in public, and people could just
They wrote it down. They wrote it down and hope you
they
take
wrote
their
it down
word
and
for
hope it like got passed on from generation to generation.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, but that'd be cool.
And then this fight scene, as it's going down, I think they like kill the bus driver or something, and then so Aquafina's got to take over as the driver, which is a nice callback to just a little bit ago where he didn't trust her to drive at first.
Right.
And so then she starts driving the bus. He's fighting these guys.
Yeah, she's driving the bus with fucking skill, bro.
Yeah, she was killing it.
Why couldn't the streamer drive the bus? He said every time I ride a bus, people yell at me or some shit like that. He said some funny shit.
I don't
like this
100%
situation
remember.
has happened to him before.
He just is constantly on buses that are being overthrown by ninjas.
He's like, every time I drive a bus, I get yelled at. That's what he said.
One thing that I just thought about from the scene too that I thought was kind of cool that I didn't notice till now thinking about it was the fact that like he's like a kung fu type fighting guy and also his assailants were kind of seemed like you'd think this is in the middle of LA, why does everyone know karate? But then like in hindsight it makes sense given who sent them.
Yeah,
and
it does eventually.
That's a cool like little detail that I wish I picked up on earlier. Like, why are these guys just happen to all have the same fighting style? Oh, maybe they learned it from the same place.
Yeah.
But then one of the dudes had a no arm, like Captain Hook type shit. And then he had a sword for an arm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And he was obviously the leader of the group.
But he didn't seem like he should be. Like he seemed.
Yeah, he seemed kind of forgetful,
Well,
and
I meant more so along the lines of the fact
style.
that his fighting style.
His
He
fighting
wasn't
style
like
wasn't dope.
he wasn't a karate man like the rest of them. Like
He was just
how'd you
I'm gonna
ascend
fuck
through
you
the
up as
ranks
fast as possible
with a sword.
Right.
It was kind of weird.
Did he? What raid boss do you think he got that off of?
I don't know.
And then he kicks their ass, but they still take his fucking necklace, so it was all worthless. Like the entire, like him like trying all the effort that they tried, he still lost it in the long run.
Yeah, and we later learned that like these people were sent by someone that wouldn't have wanted him dead. So literally, all that was on the line was the necklace.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think he says later on, the person, we'll talk about who it is later, but I'm pretty sure he says they wouldn't have been able to kill him if they tried.
Yeah,
because like he even said like you guys can try,
but I guarantee you won't be able to.
So I don't know if he really cared if they died or not. It seemed like this dude had one goal and he only cared about that goal.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care who died in the path.
But
what happens after that? Oh yeah, they go back to his fucking crummy ass LA apartment, which is just kind of like it looked like a garage or storage unit. Honestly,
it was a very very small place to be.
And he was just packing up because he had to go get his sister, and she's just freaking out because she knows nothing about Sean.
Aquafina's like, bro, what the hell just happened?
She's like, you have a sister? Like, what? Oh, yeah, that is when she says it. You're right. And then she's like, well, I've known you for 10 years. You didn't tell me you had a sister? He acted like he didn't want to get into it right now. Mm-hmm. Like, because like he was just like freaking out, and she kind of could tell. She's like, you're going to tell me on the plane, Sean. We're fucking going, bro. We're all going.
Yeah, she like added herself in on the trip. He was like,
you don't have to go. You're not gonna go. She's like, I'm fucking going, and you're gonna explain this shit on the plane. I just think she used this as an excuse to get the fuck out of Dodge and just go on a little trip.
I feel like she didn't know what she would have went with them no matter what.
Yeah, she's ride or die.
They go on adventures together.
Yeah,
that's their thing.
It's kind of cute. It's kind of cool. And they're on the plane,
and that's when he breaks down to her exactly like what, not exactly what.
Yeah, he lies
on,
a little
bit,
a lot of
details. Yeah, he explains how he got put through training and how he was sent to complete a mission, but then he told her he didn't complete the mission. This is where we're introduced to his father also.
Yeah.
And we learn that that's who sent these guys, was the father.
Exactly.
And these are people from his past that he knows. Like, Sean has seen these people before, trained beside them, and they were just after him, seemingly trying to kill him.
Yeah, and he put in some work, but they still took his shit. And then, they're talking about his name. He was like, well, Sean's not really my name. And she's like, who are you? Like at this point, like, she doesn't even know who this guy is within. Like, she thought she'd known this person for 10 years, and then instantly he's totally different.
Yeah, a whole new person from
the jump. And he goes, Shang CHI. And she's like, Shang CHI? Like, she's like, what?
She starts dying.
Like, she's American as fuck. Like, she doesn't know any of that stuff. And he explained it to her. He's like, wait, you changed your name from Shang to Sean? like making fun of how easy
she starts
that is to
digging
find
in on him.
Yeah, that's like me being Gina and changing my name to Gina. That shit was funny.
I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
She was like a really cool comedic relief character, but not just that. She also developed along the story too, and was very important to the story.
Yep.
But also provided a lot of comic relief. I think that's cool because a lot of the times the comic relief character is just that.
She was a little more than that.
Yeah, I felt like a lot more. I feel like she was very important to the story.
She was.
She was like a sidekick kind of, but
really
also was able to lighten the mood and break tension in the
lighten
film.
The mood. But oh god, that's loud. But she. Where do they get? When do they arrive?
After the plane, they arrive.
Obviously, they didn't jump out of the plane and get there. But what scene is that?
The next one? I don't know.
I don't remember the next scene.
It goes plane, and then they get off the plane, and they're in an area, and people start recognizing him.
They find where his sister's staying, and it's like this underground fucking.
I think it was above ground, underground in the sense
that it's like low key.
Yeah, but above ground because it was very high in the sky.
Skyscraper.
Yeah,
it wasn't too discreet, but it wasn't as low key as we thought it was. Because it was like a big skyscraper. So, and the elevator, she made fun of the elevator. She's like, "Yeah, this is totally up to code." And it was like just some gangsta, ghetto ass.
And I think while they're in the elevator too, he was made to sign some paperwork.
Yeah,
which he wasn't really explained what it was.
He didn't read it or anything. You don't sign, especially in a foreign country. You don't sign anything you don't read. That's rule number one. Rule number two. You just don't sign anything.
Rule number one was double tap.
Oh yeah, that's number two. Don't sign anything you don't read, especially in a foreign country. And he's scheduled to fight because now he's a YouTube sensation.
Yeah, everyone knows him as Bus Man or something
Bus
weird
guy
like that.
Or something like that. Bus fight, and he gets they're doing fight bets on the darknet, and we see a familiar character fighting this big ass lizard guy. And
wait, why is he a familiar character?
Because this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Mr. Wong is in Doctor Strange and the Avengers films.
Ah.
Yeah, he's like Doctor Strange's side guy.
In case you guys were wondering, I haven't watched those.
You saw, is this your first one?
Not ever. I've seen some within my life.
Did we review one?
Maybe.
Did we review one?
What's
the last one before Shang CHI?
Oh, Black Widow.
Black Widow. We reviewed it,
that.
But
it's
we
not
lost
on YouTube,
it.
but it's on other stuff, right?
No, I lost it.
Oh, we gotta
deleted.
We'll redo it eventually.
Yeah, but Yeah, this is his second MCU movie, and it's the newest one. The newest two ones are the only ones he's seen.
Yeah,
Well,
I've
fully
seen.
watched.
Yeah, I've seen some like as a kid and stuff, but I haven't.
2008, I was 19. That's when they came out. The first one came out.
Oh, geez, I was 10.
Yep. But you see Mr. Wong fighting this lizard guy.
Yeah.
And he kicks his ass. He kicks his ass, and they're betting on these fights on the dark net, which is like it's basically underground internet, if you will. And they say that, and they set him up with he doesn't know who he's fighting, but who does he end up fighting? His sis that he's looking for, and they're like, never heard of her.
And then
that's her
him
boss.
fighting
That's
her.
her boss. Yeah. I think he could have whooped her ass, but he didn't want to whoop her ass. He was just trying to talk to her, and she was just trying to kick his ass.
I think that as we later learn about him and he's more battle ready, he probably
Yeah.
could have. But at the same time,
She was keeping up on that.
yeah, she's
shit. He
constantly
was 10
fighting.
years.
He's rusty.
Yeah, he's
That
10
fight
years
scene
rusty.
that
That's
he
a good
just had
point.
was his last fight in 10 years.
That last hit that she did, that dead-on hit that he wasn't expecting, that knocked him down, that shit was brutal.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, oh.
I'm not trying to get hit
how
by
cold.
that.
Yeah, that shit was badass.
And but she, what I don't think we mentioned it. The reason that he knew where she was and went to pursue her was because of a postcard he got that he believed was from her.
Yeah, and it
but
wasn't
when he
even
brought it
her.
up to her, yeah, she had no recollection of it. And then after the fight, I think she asks him how he found her, and he brings up the card and gives it to her, and she's like, "I didn't send this,"
Which
and
was
then,
weird. Did you ever find out who sent it?
Yeah, it was the father. The father.
Oh,
Sent,
okay.
I don't think they directly said it, but once that happened, like lights cut out, people start
Okay.
raiding, and so my
Okay.
assumption is that
It was
the father sent it because he knew where Sean was, and that was a setup so that after he found
So
Sean,
he'd
he
go
could
to
locate
her.
her. Yeah,
Yeah, but
because they didn't
that
know where
isn't-
she
I
was.
I thought that too, but do you know why that can't be true?
Why?
It might be a plot hole because he found her because of the postcard. It had her address on it, and he went to that address. That was
Maybe
on
it
the
was to
postcard.
get them in the same spot,
That's what I think. Like in case they they didn't retrieve it the first time,
like a
they get a
failsafe.
second chance to like a safety net to get them both in the same door, kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, that would make more sense. Because
Yeah,
once you
'cause
say that, yeah, there's
That's how he
how'd
got.
they get the ad.
Yeah, that's how he got there.
Yeah.
He would have no idea where his sister was, because like after 6 years, she said she dipped.
Which,
She dipped
in
out the
hindsight,
cut.
seems like a dumb idea to put them in the same place
Because they're
then
dangerous.
Yeah, and then
It's
they're working
2v6,
together.
yeah. But they had like a whole army, like straight up. This
But
time
when
the
your
bus
army
was. You
have a
can't put
better
an army
chance-
on a bus.
You can have your whole army take one of them out though,
Yeah.
instead of two. Also, why'd all the fighters run away and not fight? Like you're in a place filled with like battle-ready people until
They just
battle is
dipped
ready.
too. Yeah, they all just dipped like little bitches.
cowards.
Yep, they suck.
They only fight. Maybe they're not cowards. They're only prize fighters. They're like, there's no money on the line. I'm not fighting.
Yeah,
Pay me
that's
first.
true. They get mad money. She betted against him, dog.
Yeah, and got
And made
bucks.
that dough. Because if she, I feel like she didn't do it because she thought he was gonna lose. I think she did it because, like, if he loses, they still got paid, type of thing. Like, I don't
Right.
think she paid. Like, she could have betted against him because she thought he was gonna lose. But I think it was like a win-win type of
Yeah,
situation.
you're either collecting the bag from
or
the
you're
fight.
kicking some ass.
Yeah, you either get the fight money or you get the lost the fight money.
Yeah, that's true too. I didn't even think of that because you probably can't bet on yourself because that's kind of cheating because you could just throw the fight.
Yeah. Oh, I think you can bet on yourself. You can't bet against.
Yeah, because yep, that would be dumb. So the whole army swarms in.
And shit goes down.
Great scene. Like it's on the window. Like that shit looked great. That's an example of good CGI.
Was when they were fighting on the window.
Yeah, and
I don't really know how to
Malignant-
tell what's CGI. And
If
what's
if it
not.
looks animated, it's bad. Oh, you don't know what is CGI and what's not?
Yeah.
If you can't probably do it, it's probably CGI. Like, do you think that like they actually do that stuff?
I don't know how it works. I just watch the movies.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't
that's
ponder
not your,
much
that's
about
the
the
point of you
creation
being
of
on
it.
here.
Yeah, I don't ponder like how they created each
You just
scene.
think
I
it's fucking cool.
Take the scene in.
Okay, that's fair. That's good. We like people like that.
But like I'm sure like they probably could have recorded that for real, right? They just have like a
they would
green
have to have
screen and a
like
big
serious people
yeah.
as body doubles, which would be what they did back in the day. because they didn't have the computer technology that they do.
But now that
today.
we do, it probably saves a lot of time and energy.
But it also puts a lot of situations that could never be done, like a lot of movies that are just in space and shit, because like we can't do that.
It makes them all possible.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Even though we did Star Wars, but Star Wars was like in ships most of the time.
If you're in space, you're in a ship, and then when you land,
Yeah.
you're not in space
Yeah,
anymore. So you don't
but
have
the
to
new
worry
Star
about
Wars,
that.
like you see more space than you do. But anyway,
Yeah,
they
crazy
kick some
fight
fucking
scene.
ass. Yeah,
We thought the sister abandoned him. She just
dips
out on him, but then during the fight scene, she saves Aquafina from certain
yeah, she was
death.
gonna die. She was dead.
For sure. Like
Faux show,
that bitch was about to fall 50 stories at least.
dude. That would have been splat.
I would have been sad too. I liked her character.
Yeah, I would have been sad too. That would have been a tragic ending. But she scoops her.
Yeah, and then they
And-
fight off the bad guys together.
But then eventually they get caught, and you find out who's
Yeah,
chasing them.
I think Pops is the one that caught them.
Oh, it was Pops?
Yeah, there's this like assassin that we've seen prior to this, like when he was describing his training and stuff.
Okay.
The dude with the mask.
Okay.
And that guy and Sean end up fighting.
Okay.
And Sean is about to win the fight. Like I think he's about to kill the dude. And the
Right.
dad like hits him with the rings.
Yeah,
And gets
yeah.
him off. And that's where he says that line you brought up earlier where he's like, I told my men they couldn't kill you if they tried.
Right. Yeah. They kick some ass. And yeah, you find out it's Pops that's chasing them. And you find out Pops trained them. You find out a bunch of shit in this scene. Like in a little bit amount of time. They do a good job with the pacing in this movie, I think.
I think it was pretty well
Yeah.
done too.
And then he takes them to tell them why he's taking their necklaces and shit.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the villain telling his end plot for some reason.
But this
villains
this
do that.
is makes sense because he's not
he misses his wife.
yeah, he's not a villain per se.
Yeah,
His
it's one of those,
motives are pure. He just misunderstands and he's going about it the wrong
That's
way.
how all villains in the MCU kind of are.
they're
Like they're
almost
they're
understandable.
well written, misunderstood people, but they're still bad.
I don't know if I could call this guy bad.
Summoning demonic birds and wiping out whole.
Well, he
wanted to
didn't
wipe
do-
out but he wanted to wipe out the whole tribe to get what he wanted.
He thought they had his wife
I'm
captive.
not saying that he doesn't have this is kind of like Don't Breathe 2, where you don't you understand why he did what he did. It's just not morally right.
If my understanding is that you have my wife captive, I think it is. Based on my moral structure, if I thought someone captured my wife, I wouldn't think I was morally wrong for killing them and their whole village.
Yeah, but he was also wrong.
But
He didn't think he was
that doesn't.
wrong. Yeah.
If your understanding is off, that doesn't make you evil.
I'm saying in the
You could be a
overall
good-
picture, he's villain. He might not necessarily be a villain.
He's painted as the villain. I wouldn't call him a villain.
Yeah,
He's
there we
just
go.
like,
That's better. I agree. So what scene happens after that?
believe they're taken back to the camp. His like.
Oh yeah,
training
that's right.
camp.
We were talking about that. They were taken back to the camp, and he tells them why he's doing what he does, and that he actually knows how to get to where he needs to get because she has a map with the droid.
Yes.
The droid has this cool ass scene with the.
Yeah, he explains that he believes that his wife, their mother, was still alive and taken captive.
Yeah.
And because he's been hearing her speak to him.
Exactly.
And then they don't really believe him. And then he takes the necklaces, and they're actually eyes to this dragon mounted in their house. And that's when that cool ass scene comes.
That
where,
shit
like,
was dope.
Water comes out and like creates a map
Yeah.
showing where and when and how to get to where he's got to go.
Right. And that shit was a great scene. It was water, right?
Mm-hmm.
That shit was super dope. And then, you know what plot hole I don't understand? He says that there's a specific time and day in the year that this shit opens. They get there like Aquafina and the crew and that chicken bird,
Yeah.
that chicken pig, and Shang CHI.
And they just get in.
They get in early. Like I thought it only opened once a day
I
or
think
once
that
a year.
I think, like, my assumption is that it's like it opens at one time a year, and that's how people can get in, but there could be ways that people on the inside already know how to get in.
Okay.
And because
they were with people that knew how
they
to
got
get
the
in.
data from that weird elephant flying thingy.
Okay, that works.
And so I think he just knew like a way to get in that
I
wasn't
thought
that
that
way.
was super weird. Like I thought
There's only this one way you can get in,
yeah,
unless you have
and
an
they get in
elephant
another
with
way,
no head
right?
and wings.
Or a creature that's there, because there's a lot of cool creatures there. I know I just skipped a bunch, but they find basically the rest of the part between him showing them what they got to do, and then them going before him to save the tribe, because he wants to wipe out this whole place.
Yeah, he
to
wants
get what
to.
He wants.
He believes that they have her imprisoned, his wife. So he wants to just wipe them all out.
Yeah,
like a fuck you for stealing my wife, and then free her. And then I think the only scene before they start going is that they're like locked up. They're put in a little cell where they meet this actor.
Yeah, this
And
British actor from the 60s, I believe, and or the 70s, and he has some chicken pig from that land with him.
Yeah.
And he thought he was hallucinating it.
Tallow, I think, is the name of the land.
And he's like, yeah, I know how to get there. Let's do it. And then the great action scene of them stealing that guy's car.
Yeah,
he has a Beamer too, doesn't he? I feel like BMW sponsored this movie, because that's the second BMW in this movie. I just realized that.
They collected that
definitely
bag.
did. That's product placement as fuck. Because they would have used a different car, I feel like. But they grabbed the other Beamer, and even though they're doing off-roading and shit, I don't think this is a four-wheel drive BMW. But somehow they get it through, and they get in.
They get into Tallow.
And they tell them, and then they're at the land, and for some reason they're like, nah. When they get there, they're like, nah, we don't let outsiders in.
There's like a whole army of people there, kind of, and they're really hesitant on letting them in.
Like, wouldn't the grunts recognize them,
I think
too?
they did know who it was, but they probably didn't want any part of them. Given the fact that the mother's been dead, they know that she's not locked up, she's dead.
Yeah.
They might think that they've had some influence from their father and might look at them as evil.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then the aunt steps in and is like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Right.
Like, let them in.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. But at the same time, their aunt comes out after that, their mom's sister, and she's like, these guys are cool, let them in.
Yeah, like, what are y'all doing?
And then they start, he warns them, and she says that the beasts within that that dimension, there's this closed off dimension. It's not actually a prison. It's a dimension that's been closed off because the things that are in it are evil.
And they're guardians of it.
They're guardians of this dimension, and they're making sure that people don't come out, or they don't come out because they're like devil, like they're like straight from hell, bro. Yeah. And what happens is it's manipulating. I feel like it's manipulating Pops.
Yeah.
To think that, so that he opens it.
It reminds me of those like old tales of sailors that
it was pretty cool.
Like the sailors would hear like a whispering from like beautiful women or something that would allure them into the sea. Yeah. And then they'd get like devoured by monsters.
Yeah,
it's kind of that same thing.
It is kind of that same scenario.
The monsters are like projecting the wife's voice into his head and making him think that's what he's coming to save.
Yeah.
When in reality he's saving them from their chamber.
And then they're gonna fuck everybody up. So they start training. They start teaching Aquafina the bow.
She wasn't supposed to learn it, I don't think.
But she kind of like thinks she rubbed off on him.
Yeah, she almost forced her way into getting to learn it.
She did. She showed that she was willing to help.
And
no matter what, she was right. She was all in at this point.
She wanted to just be involved in this.
It was really cool.
And there was a cool line that the old lady had said to her, because when they're going to archery, she's like kind of ranting about how she's like, I don't know how you guys could do the same thing for so long. Da 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 da. I kind of
give up.
Yeah,
she's
basically. And the lady said a line that was just really cool. It was like something along the lines of, if you aim at nothing, you hit nothing.
Yeah, that shit hit.
Yeah,
it's
a nice deep line.
Yeah, it was dope. And people don't really those lines, like I feel like regular people just kind of blow by those, but those are lines that you actually have to listen to.
Yeah, those are things that you write down.
That's advice that you have to remember, because that shit is deep and that shit is true, and that could change your entire mindset on just a few words.
Yeah, there's Jordan Peterson has a similar quote where he's like, it doesn't matter what you aim at something.
Yeah.
Because then after you aim at that and you might only hit it with 10% accuracy, you can then readjust your aim based on where you're at now.
Exactly.
And you might not have like a straight path to success. It might be like you're aiming here and then you're aiming here and here and here and here, but you eventually get there.
Yeah, and we're going to try to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do with these crazy-ass, dumbass videos.
But we're aiming in a direction and we're going to hit it.
Yep, we're going to do our best.
I thought that line was like just, it clearly was impactful enough that it stuck out to me.
It changed her mindset.
And the fact that it fit with the metaphor of archery was a really good one for it, and that just happened to be what they were really doing too.
And she becomes a stone cold fucking archery killer. Like, she's better than some of the grunts there, and it was her first day.
Which I believe she also alluded to, because she talked about how she'll try new things all the time and get really good really quick and then just stop doing them. So
maybe she just didn't want to stop doing this one.
Yeah,
or it was just a day, so we couldn't really find out if she quits or not.
Yeah, but she learns quick.
Yeah, and he gets trained by her aunt because she is one of the warriors that have the potential to beat Pops, because his mom beat Pops.
Yeah, the only one to have ever beaten him.
Because he was like one of the most strongest people in the world because of these stupid rings.
This, honestly, right here is like a little part of the film. This is where it starts off that really bothered me.
Really?
Around here is where I started getting a little upset with this film. Everything prior to where we're at right now, I thought was like amazing. I give it like a high 4.
Okay.
But once it gets around here, they make it sound like the focal point of the plot is going to be father versus son. That's the climax.
Yeah.
And then that's even what they indicate here. He wants to train with her to learn the way to defeat his father. And they have this training scene, and then like the father and the army eventually arrive, right?
Yeah.
And the father goes to... The armies all start fighting, and then the father somehow just walks away. Everyone just lets the main bad guy walk right past.
That's wild.
And then he goes up to the gate that they're supposed to be protectors of.
And just start banging the shit out of it.
Yeah, and this is where the fight scene occurs, where dad versus son, they start fighting a little bit. But, like, dad just kind of whoops son's ass, breaks the gate, and monsters start coming out.
Just tearing people up.
And then, like, the big monster gets out and just kills the dad. And that...
They still had another epic fight where he was winning.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And he started controlling some of the rings himself.
Oh, yeah, that was a good
scene,
That was
too.
Epic,
but that. You're kind of right. But he also felt sympathy because it was his dad. And then it looked like his dad realized that he fucked up and was wrong. So they got that connection when he got scooped up by the dragon. And when they met their eyes, they were like on the same side again. But then he just got killed. That was kind of a good scene, too. But you're right.
I didn't like that what it meant, though. It was a cool scene in and of itself in a vacuum. But I don't like that it took away the thunder from the father-son fight.
The epic fight.
Yeah, the dad just dies because of this huge beast.
And now Awkwafina's doing work with the bow. She's killing the dragons with the bow, serpents. I would say serpents.
And this is kind of, though, where after the dad dies, it changes from this... The whole movie was building up this father-son rivalry, and now we're just watching this great epic battle between like a dragon and a flying octopus thing.
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
And that's
it did get kind of out of hand.
I didn't really sign up for this.
Yeah, it did get kind of out of hand, and then they eventually won. And honestly, Awkwafina won the day because her shot is what did it.
She had a crisp hit on the thing's neck that distracted it so that they could finish it off.
And then the serpent finished it off. And then I think... It was cool in the sense that they had a cool-ass, badass, almost impossible story to tell their friends from the beginning about. Mm-hmm. Because their friends were like, you guys have so much potential. You guys should grow up. You guys should grow up. You guys have so much potential.
And then they have the most crazy fight of their lives.
And then Awkwafina and Shang are telling them this crazy story that they could never believe. And guess who shows up at the restaurant? Mr. fucking Wong with his fucking portals. Their time ends distance based. Like he could do like, I don't know, since he lost the time stone, I don't know if they can do time now, but they definitely do portals within like areas.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, him and Doctor Strange can do it. Doctor Strange, is he in the movie? Yeah, he's in the end, in the very end.
Is that who the two people they were talking to?
Yep, that's Wong and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a movie you need to see. That's one of my favorite ones. And he basically says, "You're one of us now, bro. You got to
locked into this life.
You're in the Avenger life now."
Because he has the rings at this point.
Yeah, he's honestly probably this is one of the moments where the learner ends up being better than the teacher.
Yeah.
Where I think that he's more of a not only is he more badass than his dad, but he's also using his badassness for good.
And from his mom,
power.
he's got the mother.
Yeah, he's got the mother. So like he's got two very powerful people that taught him things, and now he's just like the GOAT at this point.
Yeah. I still am kind of sad about how it ended though. Like just Did
you stay for the end scene?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I saw everything. But I thought that the movie was really cool up until like that epic battle, which I still like on its own was cool. It just felt like a little I wasn't emotionally invested in the battle of those two like greater deities because it built up this father-son rivalry. That's where all my emotional energy is in. And then that climax is kind of taken away from me because it's finished by this like mythical beast that I was only introduced to 10 minutes ago. And so it kind of that part kind of sucked to me.
I understand where that could go, but it was a really good movie.
It was,
and it's one of the best. I feel like it's one of the best MCU movies I've seen. I'd put it in my top 5, and there's like
I've only
24
seen 2,
of these
but
now.
it's in my top 2.
There's 24.
I think I like Black Widow more.
Do you?
Yeah.
You prefer Black Widow?
I really like that movie.
I think this one's a little bit better.
I not
a
having
little bit better.
I think if I had more context on the MCU universe, I feel like this one,
at least probably like
from the little bit
more.
I've known, this one looked different, having the different fighting style.
It's one of the different ones, but at the same time, it's kind of the same too. Honestly, I liked how different it was. That's a good point, that this one was just a different one. I thought I was just going to get the same kind of MCU shit that we've been getting for years and years, but I walked out of the theater very happy. That was a really good movie.
I would have if it wasn't for that little bit of an ending.
That's fine.
Just because, like, then it's at the very end, too, so I just kind of dwelled on it a little too long.
That makes sense.
Dang it. But I feel like that last scene you asked if I watched, do you think that set up a sibling rivalry to come? Because to me,
it could have. She could be a villain at some point.
It looks like she was supposed to be sent there to dismantle his
but
industry.
She just built it up.
Yeah, she's taking it over, and that might be symbolic of her becoming evil now.
That might be a sequel or an event or another Avengers film.
Just because they had this fight, like where they were side by side, doesn't mean that she's like inherently good or forgives him for what he did in her life, where he abandoned her.
Yeah, that's true.
So she might be spiteful still. And I notice a lot of the time when they had the opportunity to discuss that, like the tension between those two characters, anytime there'd be a moment to discuss it and like a chance for him to be like, I'm sorry, there was always some action that cut it off.
Yeah.
And like they never got to have that like brother-sister moment together, and maybe that'll be explored in a different movie after they have a little feud.
Yeah, maybe. That would be cool. So, overall, what do you feel about this movie?
I loved it, aside from like my little stick at the end.
Literally 5 minutes of the movie you had a problem
that's
with.
probably like 15.
15.
But I would like... It's not a overall, like, I didn't think the scenes were garbage or anything. It's just there's a couple ways I think they could have gone. Either not have this monster thing at all, which I don't think they would want to do that solution, because they could have just had the son defeat the father fair and square, and him not, and like actually just protect the gate,
right,
and the gate not open,
right.
But I don't think they would have done that, because there was just like they lose out on that cool action scene. But they also could have earlier on in the movie got us engaged in that plot line too, instead of introducing it for like 10 minutes and then now we're watching two of the strongest creatures in these dimensions go to war when I barely know who they are.
Barely know her.
Yeah, like if they could have either not had it or just built it up a little more and gave it a little more emphasis early on.
Okay. It was already a 2.5 hour movie. It didn't feel like it.
I didn't feel like I was there for too long. I was enjoying, except the fact I had to pee. Towards the end, I had to pee.
Yeah, that movie would be hard to pee at if you didn't see it before.
Yeah.
Because I think I pee. I always pee before because I pee a lot.
I do
I'm
too.
Constantly
I always
drinking
pee
water.
before.
But sometimes I have to the midway. But the first viewing of this, I didn't pee. And then the second viewing, I did, but it wasn't a big deal because
you've seen it. Yeah.
I only saw this one twice.
I've only seen it once.
I know. But I'm going to have to... I was going to give this movie a 5.
Really?
But I'm going to give it a 4.
I think I'm locking in around 4 too.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
It was a high 4 without the little problem I had, but because that's definitely not enough to knock it
I don't have a problem with that
3.
scene as much as you do.
How come? Like,
I just don't
you
really
think
have a problem with
you
it. I
think
thought it was a
fit
good
fine?
scene. Yeah,
I thought the scene was good. It just I didn't have any emotional connection, and like they took
fair.
away the climax that I was expecting
That's
the
fair.
whole film.
I just thought it was a great movie, so I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
I lock in at a 4 or 2. I think.
Go see it. I don't know. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
in theaters, so go
I
see it.
recommend seeing it.
I don't know when it'll be on Disney Plus, but check it out.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Subscribe, like, comment.
Yeah, what
Love-
movie should
love
we do
us.
next? Also,
Yeah,
like,
we should do. It's Spooktober, so it'll probably be horror. But if you think of something else, we'll do that too.
hell yeah! Thank you for watching.
TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
I didn't know what that meant for a second.
Yeah, I did it one time, and you were like, I don't know what that means.